So, Jamie.
Yes, Matt?
Have you noticed that astrophysicists are a bit like buses?
Go on.
Well, I've waited for one, and then suddenly two came along all at once.
Wait a minute. We've got another interview with an astrophysicist.
That's exactly what I'm telling you, Jamie.
Jeez Louise.
The Interplanetary Podcast. The exploration of space for the benefit of all mankind. Your hosts, here in London, Matthew Russell and Jamie Franklin.
The Interplanetary Podcast. Putting the rock
Back in rocket.
I left it in last week.
Oh, crumbs.
Anyway.
Matt, which rocket did you think that was?
I think that was probably an impression of the Soyuz, the Europeanised Soyuz.
No, I'm sorry, Matt, you're wrong. Everyone listening will know that was the Falcon Heavy.
Oh, okay. We even mentioned the Falcon Heavy, don't we, in this next bit? Oh, I'm so excited.
We do.
Now, okay, so without further ado, let's listen to our interview with Harriet.
Oh, she's ace.
Yeah, and she joined us last night in Jamie's kitchen.
It was in the kitchen, yeah.
It was our first guest in the kitchen.
I like to call it the kitchen of destiny. Don't know why.
It's certainly got a lot of records and space books.
I was just showing off.
Good.
Just showing off. I hired them in.
Yeah. Shall we just go straight to that interview?
Let's go straight in.
So today, very exciting, we are joined by Harriet Brettle from the Planetary Society. I got that wrong last time, so I'm glad I got it right this time. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So if you could start by telling us your job title and what your role is.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am the London Outreach Coordinator for the Planetary Society. So that involves trying to bring the Planetary Society to the UK, spread the word about all the exciting things that the organisation is doing, and set up events to get people more involved in space exploration.
So, how did you get into space yourself?
That's a good question. It's something I've always been interested in. So from a very young age, like my dad would take us out and do stargazing in the back garden. Something I've always found fascinating, you know. And then last year I was living in New York, luckily enough, and thought, oh gosh, there's no way I'm going to be able to do any sort of space or stargazing in the middle of a giant city, right? And I was completely wrong. There's so many different things going on there, right? Columbia University does public stargazing events. There's loads of lectures. They have Neil deGrasse Tyson at the American Museum of Natural History, and kind of just got thrown into it and got really involved in loads of different things, one of which was discovering the Planetary Society over there. So they also have a branch in New York. Got involved in a few events. Wanted to keep it going when I moved back to London, and realised that there wasn't a outpost yet in London, so I thought, why don't I take it on?
And you're going to start that. So we know you
Yeah.
have some pretty famous founders of the company. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Absolutely. So the Planetary Society was founded in the 1980s by Carl Sagan.
We are not worthy.
No, all-time hero, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's
When
it.
I discovered it on the internet, I was like, I don't know, I was probably like Googling Carl Sagan or something. It was like, this is really cool.
Yeah,
we
get a bit gushy when we talk
Well,
about it.
literally, Carl Sagan comes up every podcast. We can't help ourselves.
It is hard not to, right? So, so Carl Sagan, Bruce Murray, Lou Friedman are the kind of founding members of the Planetary Society. And the organisation was set up by them to just demonstrate, simply by its existence, that people are really passionate about space exploration. And there's a real kind of drive from citizens kind of all around the world to do something with it. So it's been going ever since. We have almost, I think, 40,000 members across the world. We do a huge number of different really exciting projects, and it's been great fun being involved.
So how can people in London get involved with the Planetary Society?
Well, there's a few ways. So first off, we
Or
have...
just the UK, in fact.
Well, yeah, absolutely. So I am the outreach coordinator specifically for London. There is also a coordinator in Birmingham as well, if people are slightly further up north. But the things that we do in London, we have a Facebook page, so Planetary Society London. You can find us online. We also have a monthly newsletter, and the purpose of that is primarily just to bring together a list of all the space events that are going on in London. Because when you look, there's a huge amount going on from a number of different organisations, but you have to do a lot of searching to actually find out where they are, what's going on. So what we wanted to do is bring them all together onto one list.
Yeah.
So we send that out monthly. And this year we're really excited to be organising some of our own events. So one of the cool things that's happening in London at the moment is that we have a small exhibition at the Science Museum on the LightSail project, which we can talk about later. So we're going to be organising a trip to the Science Museum Lates at the end of February, which should be a lot of fun. We've got someone from the Science Museum doing a talk about the LightSail, go around some of the other exhibitions as well. That's exciting thing number one. Exciting thing number two is we're going to be at Astrofest, European Astrofest. Yeah. So this is a conference that's coming up in a few weeks' time in South Kensington, I think it is.
Yeah.
So it is a conference exhibition all about space and astronomy.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a huge number of really exciting talks and an exhibition hall which is going to have lots of different tables and stands.
Yeah,
and we will be one of them.
I think I went there about 5 years ago when
really?
Yeah, Brian May was touting his 3D goggly things. Sort of three, you know, he's massively into stereographic photography.
Did not know that.
Yeah, so he's done some really good ones. He's done things like the pictures of comets. He actually occasionally turns them into stereographic pictures for his own, because he's got his own sort of model of stereographic thing. He's obsessed by it. He's always has been. So he used to do rock and roll pictures.
Queen and space in one place. You must have been in your element.
That's it. Another Sagan May. That's my life. That's all that matters.
So will the Planetary Society have a stand at the exposition?
Yes, we will have our own table. So I will be there throughout the 2 days. So if anyone's listening and is going to be attending, then please do come say hello. Yeah.
Cool.
So it should be good fun.
And what can people expect from the stand? Are you going to have things to hand out? Are there going to be speakers or...?
Yes, we are going to have goodie bags or goodie things to be giving out. So we've got some information about the LightSail. We've got leaflets that telling people more about the Planetary Society, because I think there's a huge number of organisations already doing fantastic things in the UK. But I think the Planetary Society over here is slightly less well known. So I think that's one of the things I really want to do this year, is try and raise the profile and let people know what we're doing.
Yeah.
How do you think space and astronomy is perceived on social media? I mean, obviously there's a lot of things you can follow, but in the more kind of general media, do you think it's pushed out enough? I mean, we see some big gaps.
Yeah, so I think it's an interesting one. I think that actually, over the last few years, there's been a real growth in the number of news articles you see about space stories, which is really exciting. I mean, you just have to go on the BBC, right? And they have articles about the Cassini mission, or they have articles about SpaceX's latest launch. And I think there's a lot more information that's much more readily available than it has been in the past.
Yeah, that wouldn't have happened 5 years ago, would it?
Right, absolutely, yeah. And I think social media is probably helping with that as well, right? Because people can tailor their news to what they're interested in a way that you couldn't really do in the past.
Absolutely, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And obviously Tim Peake now going back to the space station can only be good as well, because, I mean, we were talking about the press that he got. It's just, we haven't seen anything like that. And actually getting school kids involved in it is so important.
Well, I always think it's a double-edged sword, because that's one of the reasons why we're doing this podcast, is the fact that I remember looking when ExoMars first launched. It made maybe 1 inch on page 7 of some of the sort of national newspapers. You think, well, this is, it's Britain's involvement in the in ExoMars was absolutely huge, and you think surely we're slightly prouder than this of that. And you think actually that is probably where it sits at the moment. So I think that there's still definitely the public's imagination still hasn't been quite captured by space, and I think they're much more into space science than they are into the cosmos. People are into, and they love to hear stories of galaxies and how big they are and stuff like that. But I think that whole, knowing about Cassini and knowing about, even, I would imagine that the average person on the street may have heard of Hubble, but definitely hadn't heard of Chandra, for example, that we covered last week.
Right.
Despite the fact that it's pretty amazing. With the Planetary Society, is it becoming much more of a global thing? Because one thing this podcast does actually do, we get when we look at the listeners, we get people in Egypt and Australia and absolutely everywhere. So is the Planetary Society totally global now? They're trying to get into every country.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are outreach coordinators from a huge number of different countries across the world. I was just seeing on the Facebook page the other day, there was a fantastic event hosted in Pakistan where the Planetary Society outreach coordinator there had hosted an event. Obviously, there's a lot going on in the US, but also Canada, Australia. It really is kind of growing throughout the world.
You're going to try China?
Give it a go. Why not?
Yeah. We actually got one listener from North Korea, so
that's not bad,
we were wondering who that might be.
How they've done it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty crazy. But
Just be worried.
Presumably India must be a really interesting place to start, because they're obviously, they've got a pretty exciting space program themselves at the moment.
Right.
So it'd be presumably that would be an area. And it's like almost a third of the world's population.
That's true. That definitely
it's quite a
helps,
population to get excited about. Tell us some of the sort of things that that the Planetary Society are sort of most famous for, some of their projects.
Yeah, sure. So the Planetary Society does a number of different things, which can kind of be broken down into 3 groups, I guess. So there's creating new projects or new initiatives. So the Planetary Society is completely funded by the support of its own members. So it is a non-profit, non-governmental supported organisation, and it funds projects that are looking at exoplanets, for example, so planets around other stars. So they will fund research going on to look at exoplanets and understand more about them. It's one of my pet favourite topics in astronomy. I mean, it's hard not to like, isn't it? So that's really cool. They also are providing funding for projects related to planetary defence, so looking at near-Earth objects and how we can defend against them.
So presumably you've got a lot of events coming up for Asteroid Day. And
yes, absolutely. So that's happening towards the end of June, I believe.
Because we've got someone from Asteroid Day.
Oh,
to
fantastic!
Come on the podcast. So
that'd be great.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. And I mean, that's one of those things where you don't think that you're going to have to plan for it, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of important to think about, right?
I know, absolutely. Whether the person that's coming on, their job is to organise what happens in the event of an asteroid strike, I believe. So that's part of the emergency committee that has to deal with the aftermath. And of course, you have to think about it. You can't just sort of go, it's not going to happen, it'll be all right.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's an interesting one because the British Interplanetary Society they always have a talk, and I think last year's was "Don't worry, we're all going to die" or something.
Well, I mean, you could say that at any point in history, right? But now potentially we're getting to the point where the science is at a stage where maybe we could do something about it, right? And so if you've got the capacity to deflect, destroy. I don't know what the current technologies are. If we can do it, then we should definitely.
In fact, that's the point. Have the Planetary Society got any projects that are about planetary defence?
So I know that they're definitely funding projects that are looking into it. Yeah. I don't know if they've solved the problem yet. That's probably maybe a little bit further out.
Yeah, so it's because it's so hard, isn't it? These things are massive and quite weighty, and don't really want to be pushed off in another direction.
You can't just get a giant baseball bat, can you?
Yeah, and what's the incredible thing? I mean, that I thought one of the best things about that Russian one that happened a few years ago that was captured on everyone's dash cams. What was brilliant about that one was that we were talking about another asteroid about the same day that was travelling in between the Earth and the Moon. And everyone was looking one way, and in the meantime, this other asteroid comes in from a completely different direction that no one even saw because half of them you can't really see.
And that one wasn't even that big. You know, if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, imagine what we'd do if there was a truly giant one.
And if it's over a populated area as well,
right?
Because I mean, you do occasionally get the odd strike over the sea, which is the most likely one. That gets picked up by satellites, and everyone sort of goes, "Ooh, that was probably quite lucky that didn't happen over London."
One thing I know I'd do, Matt, is check out the value of the metal on board. As we discussed about mining asteroids, Matt gave a ridiculous stat of what was the figure of one of the asteroids?
They're quintillions, aren't they?
Quintillion
in one asteroid?
dollars, and so they were saying that it might cost $500 million to go up there and mine this asteroid.
Right.
But you would, if you took the metal down and were able to sell it, that it would be $1 quadrillion. So definitely worth doing.
That is interesting.
When we had another guy on the podcast talking about going out to mine asteroids and the reason why people are kind of still umming and ahhing about it, and people are talking about mining asteroids right now. It's kind of becoming more and more of a thing of is it going to be worthwhile, is a change of space law. And saying, well, if you go out to an asteroid, then you can claim ownership. Otherwise, it's like, well, you can't. And we've actually just had the 50th anniversary, haven't we, of the International Space Treaty?
Yeah, we have. And I think the US and is it Luxembourg have made some rulings on how you treat.
That's quite recent as well. Yeah,
planetary resources or whatever the term is.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was around about the time we were talking about that guy. Yeah, John Ammerbar.
So one thing I know we're desperate to know is about the LightSail. So could you give us some details?
Yes, so this is one of the projects that is particularly exciting this year for a number of reasons. So first off is the LightSail is a citizen-funded project which is organised by the Planetary Society, which is sending a small spacecraft into space, as you would expect, that is going to be carrying large reflective sails that are going to be powered by the sun's energy.
Right.
So essentially it's kind of a proof of concept idea. The first prototype was launched in 2015. So that was just launching it up into the Earth's atmosphere, checking that the sails could come out in the way that they'd expect them to, and then coming back down.
Yeah.
But this year we've got the actual kind of fully testing prototype
and it's possibly on the most exciting launch of the year, isn't it? On a Falcon Heavy.
It is on a Falcon Heavy. So yes,
which we're definitely looking forward to.
Which is going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, I can't remember the actual. I don't know if they've got a fully finalised date scheduled. I think it's sometime later in 2017.
Well, I know they keep slipping back because Pad 39 isn't ready yet.
Right.
So they and it just, I think they've just announced this week that Pad 39 they're going to be launching an ISS mission first, where it was a satellite mission, but that's dropped back a bit, so they're doing that. So it'd be interesting. Yeah, I'd imagine actually once they start getting back in the swing of things, we'll get a date.
Yes. Keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
I think that's the main one.
So that makes it doubly exciting now.
Yes.
So we've got LightSail and on at the same time.
Double whammy.
Yeah,
right.
double
Yeah,
whammy.
exactly. So, I mean, it should be really exciting. So, essentially, LightSail is just a CubeSat, right? So, you've got a little box size of a loaf of bread and these giant tinfoil. They're not made of tinfoil, but that's what they'll look like.
They're quite thin, though, aren't they? What's the statistic?
Incredibly thin. I have the statistic here for you. They are 4.5 microns thick.
Wow.
So that's the quarter of the thickness of a Tesco's plastic bag.
Yeah,
so
that's quite thin.
Incredibly
really
thin.
Yeah.
And they're going to be spreading out to 32 square metres. So it's pretty big for a little satellite.
Yeah. Now, can you just explain the principle of the way that photons hit the LightSail and actually make it work? Because that's something I always get a little bit confused over.
Right, yeah. So you can kind of think about it in the way that you have this giant reflective surface, right? So when the photons hit the silver reflective surface, they bounce off. And although the photons don't have mass, they have momentum. So they transfer their momentum onto the tin foil. Yeah. I need to stop calling it tin foil because it's not. It's very.
What actually is it made of?
It is made of. I don't know, to be honest.
I wonder if it's made of the same stuff as those mirrors that we used to get in for pop stars.
That could be the
Mylar.
That could be the cliffhanger for podcast
Mylar
21.
sails. That's it.
Is it Mylar?
You got it.
Yeah. So it is the same as we used to use for Rihanna to dance in front of in the rehearsal room.
Oh, right, got it.
Well, there you go. And now it's going into space.
Yes, it's it. Well, I think it's definitely worked the other way. I'm sure Mylar went into space before.
We should get her to retweet about the LightSail.
Yeah.
Should be well into it.
And you, I think it's the same film that you put on the front of your telescope so that you can look at the sun without burning out your eyes.
Okay.
So it is definitely a space material, isn't it?
Well,
it's
yeah.
Mylar.
So so back to the science.
Yeah, sorry.
So essentially, talking about tinfoil too much. Yeah. Right? So essentially, what happens is the light, the photons hit the sail, and they transfer their momentum into the LightSail. So you can kind of think about it as like a sail, like a boat sail, right? But instead of having wind, you have photons kind of pushing it along, and that provides a constant acceleration that you get to the sail, and then it just flies off or flies around.
What's the destination of the LightSail that is going to go up this year?
So this is a prototype that is going to be doing a loop around the Earth, as far as I'm aware.
Right.
So you will be able to see it from the ground, which is quite cool.
Yeah, that is exciting.
The Planetary Society is going to be organising viewing parties to be able to see it, and it's very
Will there
exciting.
be an app available like the ISS spotter, for instance? Do you know?
I do not know,
So you
but that's
can
a great
see where
idea.
it is. Yeah, I'd love that. So you know when to look up.
Yeah.
Right.
Or it's a bit difficult in London, but there's an app.
In
You
fact,
can.
do you know what? There's actually hundreds of them.
Oh, really?
But yeah, I used to have one on my phone. It actually started getting annoying because it used to tell me all the time. Oh, for goodness
Man.
It's like midday. Well, I can't see it
going
now.
over India. Help me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that'd be really good. I mean, that's really exciting. The LightSail. But can you tell me the difference between, say, the LightSail project and something like Project Starshot?
Right. They're definitely related. So the kind of technology and the principles that they're trying to use are the same, right? So the Planetary Society has funded this project. So it's completely citizen funded, which is really exciting, right? Because we are in this age, I guess you could say, where we're seeing this transfer between relying on government agencies to fund all of our space missions and moving towards a time where you're getting much more private funding of these kind of initiatives, which I think is really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it is primarily just meant to be showing that this can work, right? And we can actually use this as a method of propulsion. It's got loads of advantages, right? Because the sun is going to keep burning, right? It's basically like an endless battery. And because you have this constant acceleration, you can get up to really, really fast speeds. And it's that principle which Project Starshot is going to be looking at adapting and optimising and using that technology to potentially get us to some of our nearest neighbour stars. So they're not, as far as I'm aware, they're not literally related as in they're working together right now, but this could be a stepping stone before...
It's an interesting point. With solar sails, are they really only for interplanetary, i.e. within the solar system travel? Or could they potentially, if you had a big enough solar sail and started close enough to the sun, get you accelerated enough so that you could actually leave the solar system in a meaningful way?
Yeah, potentially. So it really does come down to what level of acceleration you can get out of it, right? And because it's constant, you get faster and faster and faster and faster, and you can get up to very high speeds. From what I understand, the LightSail that the Planetary Society is setting up is using the sun, but you could use an artificial light source, right? So I think Project Starshot is also looking at the possibility of using a laser, so charging it themselves.
Yeah, it'd be massive ground-based or even lunar-based.
Yeah, absolutely. Lasers, and if you can do that, then you can control the power that you're getting as the machine gets further and further away.
So potentially in the future we could be looking at Proxima B, maybe?
Fingers crossed.
I don't want to look too far ahead, but...
Yeah, I have to say, I think that's the only reasonable technology that's on the horizon. I think for interstellar travel is the photon driven.
Right, and Proxima B's. I don't want to say it's close enough, but it's within a lifetime's distance, right? Everything else is just...
I think for last year that was definitely my most exciting...
Yeah, that's definitely
the most exciting space story of last year, I think. We would definitely...
What about you, Harry? What from 2016, what was one of your favourite stories in space?
Oh, gosh, there were so many. There really were.
There were,
it was such an exciting year. So you have gravitational waves.
Yeah, there we are. There's number 2, gotta be. If not number 1.
Yeah. Proxima B. That's just huge. And I think the thing that makes that so exciting is a lot of people find stargazing, just the wonder of it is incredible, right? And discovering a planet 4 light years away from us, it brings it back to reality in a way that you can't do with astronomy that much, because you just think, everything's so far away.
I like the fact that you can get stats now where it says, however many hundreds of thousands of people were Googling what a habitable zone was. You know what I mean? Suddenly it's like, what do you mean life could potentially be okay there? Potentially.
Yeah.
Well, it's a big if.
But do you know what? I think a really interesting thing is just our recent exploration of the solar system, like going past Pluto and discovering that actually there might be water on Pluto and Charon. And actually thinking, may even need to rethink what a habitable zone is, because maybe places like Europa and Enceladus might be just as habitable, if not more habitable, than Mars. And so therefore, what is the habitable zone?
Well, so the working definition in astronomy of the habitable zone, and this is like a good refresher on my exam study.
There we go.
Excellent.
Essentially, it's just the band, the radius around the orbit of the star that you need to be in such that liquid water can survive on the surface of a planet.
Yeah, right.
And if you calculate the habitable zone for the Sun, the Earth is actually a little bit further out because we have an atmosphere that keeps us warm, right? Mm. So if we don't have our atmosphere, theoretically, the surface temperature of the Earth would be negative... I'm going to get it wrong, but negative something, right? Yeah. So it would be below freezing, but we have this atmosphere, right? Mm. So that's one thing that we need to take into account, because other planets may have atmospheres as well. Mm. Yeah. And then the other thing is moons, right?
The moons is a big one,
You might have moons around Jupiter, say. They're so far out of the theoretical habitable zone, but they have tidal heating, they may have just general heat coming from their planet, they might have their own atmospheres that keeps them warm. It's a lot more complicated than just thinking how far out do you need to be. So.
Yeah, I mean, Europa really is one of the most exciting to actually sort of go, well, it's almost definitely got a liquid ocean underneath the ice. It's an incredibly... That will be an exciting space mission when they pop off to Europa. I really hope
to drill down and
drill down. If they can drill down.
Yeah.
Maybe with the Planetary Society drill.
Yes, absolutely. Another project. You're selling them all so well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. In terms of the Planetary Society, what other events other than Astrofest and things have you got coming up in the near future?
Yeah, so one of the events that I'm really excited about that we're organising this year is a Space Up in London. So we are planning to organise this event on Saturday, the 10th of June. Going to be hosted at Queen Mary, University of London, so Mile End campus. Go out east, very adventurous. But essentially, this is going to be a Space Up event. So Space Ups have been held all over the world. It's kind of like a concept idea of how to bring people together to talk about space. There was one that was held at King's College London last year, so it's not new to the city, but it's the first time that we've been hosting one with the Planetary Society. So we're really excited about it. The plan is that we're going to have a few keynote speakers, but the majority of the day is spent talking about things that participants are interested in, right? So the discussion topics are driven by the people who are there on the day. So we'll have boards out where people can write down what topics they're interested in talking about, and then have breakout sessions where people can present on things that they think are cool or just raise topics or ideas and things that they want to discuss. So it really is driven by what people are interested in on the day.
That's great. It's really interactive, and I think it's really important for people to ask questions about stuff they don't know or that they're interested in.
Yeah, I mean, I really like that kind of public engagement where people can kind of almost make their own agenda. Do you have any other partners in that other than the Planetary Society, or is it completely Planetary Society driven?
So we are going to be working with PiSTAR, which is the Queen Mary Physics and Astronomy Society, right. And then looking for anyone else who is interested in helping us out with the organisation, because obviously it's going to be a big, exciting day. Mm-hmm. So I guess can use this as a shout out. If anyone is interested in getting involved, then that would be fantastic.
Fab. So yes, listeners.
Absolutely, get involved. Please go to the website and please sign up to the newsletter.
And if you're going to escape from North Korea, you can come out and help.
Absolutely,
that'd be good. Thank you very much for joining us.
No, thank you.
It's actually a real pleasure to have someone young and really excited about space on the show.
Super excited.
Super excited about space.
No offence to all our older interviewees.
A lot of the people involved in space, particularly in this country, are quite old now, and it'd be really, really good to have a whole new breed of space enthusiasts coming through.
Well, no, definitely. I mean, you can kind of understand it in the sense that, I was talking to my parents the other day, and we were at the Science Museum geeking out over all the cool stuff. Well,
I need to go. I need to go and see Tim Peake's capsule, The Definites. It's just the biggest.
I mean, it's fantastic, right? Just seeing it there. And we were looking at this lump of moon rock, right? My dad was saying, like, oh, wasn't it fantastic when people were going to the moon? And no one's been to the moon in my lifetime. Can you imagine, like, as a kid watching them land on the moon in 1969?
Mind-blowing. Yeah.
How inspiring is that?
Well, of course, Gene Cernan has died 2 weeks ago, and that he was the last man on the moon.
Yeah,
it's just incredible.
It's scary, isn't it? And you think there are loads of things to get really excited about these days because there's a huge amount going on. But
I always think one of the sort of things that's really fascinating is actually Apollo was so ahead of its time it kind of accidentally sort of ruined space, really, because it was like gave everyone this huge expectation. Because when 2001 Space Odyssey came out, it actually seemed realistic. That's the weird thing, is that people genuinely thought by 2001 we would have space stations and bases on the moon.
Well, yeah, and if we'd continued on that trajectory, right, we may well have done, but...
Which is why a lot of people don't like the space shuttle. But, yeah. So yeah, and I think there's definitely a rekindled interest, and I think we do have to thank people like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, and actually the Planetary Society, Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson definitely have a massive part.
Definitely, and you think about what Tim Peake's doing in the UK at the moment; it's extraordinary. And
absolutely.
I think it really is kind of reinvigorating people's interest in it.
Yeah, and it'd be great to see when we actually get the timing of his second.
Yeah, didn't they give like a 5-year window or something? It was like very. It was like maybe 2022 or something.
Yeah. See, here's the thing with Tim Peake. He actually might be the first astronaut to go up on either a Boeing or a SpaceX. Yeah, that will be super exciting.
That's cool.
Rather than a Soyuz. Yeah. I'll be so stressed. It's like there's so much riding on.
You wouldn't want to be the first.
Someone's got to be, haven't they?
Yeah, I think they would. I think that's the thing about astronauts. They're super brave people, aren't they?
It's like when we interviewed Al Worden on Apollo 15. He went up on Apollo 15, and he said, I said to him, "How nervous were you going up?" And he was like. He was kind of like, so. He was like, well, like this is how we evolve. This is how we get into doing what we do. By things crash and people die, but you know what? They learn from it. And
that bunch they'd come from being fighter pilots and test pilots,
pretty brave already.
Essentially, presumably, you must enjoy sticking your neck on the line, or otherwise you'd just never do it, would you? So.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And I'll keep you posted on all the things that we have going on.
That was such a really nice little chat with Harriet, and we're gonna get her on the show again soon to do.
We absolutely must. That was ace.
To do exoplanets. So we're gonna have a really good episode on exoplanets, hopefully in March. So I'm so excited about that. And actually,
let's get learning.
Following up from that little discussion last night, I have seen an article this morning, and the question that I asked about could you the difference between breakthrough starshot and solar sail. Well, it turns out that there's a new study that kind of combines the two, and that in actual it's one of the problems about all these laser propelled and sun propelled spacecraft is braking. And so a couple of people Heller and Hipke have managed to come up with a scheme that sends a solar sail or a laser sail spacecraft to Proxima B, but does it? No. Yeah, literally, it's unbelievable. Flying around Centauri A and Centauri B to sort of use it as a gravity assist and a way of slowing down, so that you end up in orbit around Proxima Centauri.
And that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know.
And actually, to be honest, only Heller and Hipke could have come up with that.
Exactly. These guys are the genius. And then they thought, well, hang on a second, if you can do that, you can kind of do it in reverse, because there must be the sort of energy equivalent. So they were sort of saying you could actually, instead of having the laser breakthrough starshot, you could have it with a solar sail, just like the star sail from the Planetary Society. The only problem being is it would take a few lifetimes. But if you wanted to do it quickly, you've still got to do it the laser method.
I'm fine with a few lifetimes. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, yeah, particularly because I'm going to get frozen next week.
Well, I mean, I'm going to come back as Elon Musk's assistant anyway, so...
Oh, nice.
It's fine.
Okay.
Drink.
So, there's a few other bits of news that came out this week.
What's been happening?
The one exciting thing that got everyone in a tiz on Twitter was the new was the new Starliner spacesuits. So,
yes.
Did you see them? Sort of blue. They're blue. They're blue, and I was thinking, I wonder what other spacesuits have been blue, and they have had blue spacesuits before.
There has been blue. I've seen them in the evolution of the suit. Yeah. I mean, the stereotypical one is obviously white, but who's to say what it
I
can
think
be?
These ones look like the sort of silvery ones from the Gemini period in sort of shape.
Nice.
And they're the best. Gemini spacesuits are the best. Agreed?
What colour would you get if you could, Matt?
I'd go for silver.
Would you?
Yeah, I want to be like John Glenn.
Yeah, that's pretty
Shepard.
cool.
They're the dudes, aren't they?
I think I'd go for a turquoise. Mix it up a bit, you know?
What about a Sokol spacesuit? You know, the ones that the Russians...
Space shoot?
Suit.
Matt, have you been drinking again before the podcast?
No,
I warned you about that.
I was using the Russian pronunciation.
Oh, I see what you did.
No,
I'll take it all back.
I'll tell you what else was exciting this week is that Sierra Nevada's Dream Chaser. I know that's one of your favourites. The Dream Chaser.
You know I love the Dream Chaser.
Dreamweaver. That arrived at Armstrong for further testing.
Absolutely.
Does look cool. Little mini space shuttle.
Well, we'll have to check it out.
Absolutely, and guess how many launches there are in the next coming week, Jamie?
In the next week, I'm going to say 5.
You'd have been better off saying none.
Oh,
yeah,
quiet week.
Yeah, it looks like the first launch we can expect. Oh, what? This is a bit like astrophysicists. We get 3 on the same day. We get Falcon 9, possibly on February the 14th, and Ariane 5 on the 14th, and the good old Indians in action with a PSLV.
Oh, I'm tempted to get PSL 4V tattooed on my forearm. I wonder if they'll sponsor me to do it.
Well, I don't put the 4, just put PSLV, because it's an L that I said, not 4.
I'm so glad that we worked that out before I went and got it.
Brilliant. We've only had that Europeanised Soyuz that our mate Jonathan talked about last week.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that was successful. So that's all. We're all up and running.
Well, I'm glad it's been a positive week.
So again, thanks very much for listening to the Interplanetary podcast.
Thanks for listening, guys. As always, we're loving your comments. We're loving your questions. Keep doing it, and as Matt always says, subscribe to us, leave a comment.
Check out the Planetary Society. Both
Planetary Society
both
is a must.
Jamie and I are members, although we are still waiting for our T-shirt. If you can hurry that up.
Yeah, t-shirts on the way.
We are members, and of course, check out becoming a member of any of your space societies, especially the British Interplanetary Society, to get your fix on space. But most importantly, listen to the Interplanetary podcast. I do hear, of course, that one of my favourite podcasts is the Planetary Radio, which is also very, very good. But I think we've got the edge still, Jamie. I think we're still number one
definitely got the edge. I mean, they can keep trying, but I mean, it's not really their fault.
Well, in a recent survey, we did actually come top.
Really? What?
So yeah.
Dare I ask who did this survey?
Well, it was.
Was it your parents?
It was actually me asking my kids. But but we don't. I'm going to edit that bit out so the readers just hear that it was a survey that.
You've got to have your critics.
It's what's known as alternative facts.
Absolutely. And now that it's February, guys, the January blues are over. You can stop the hibernation and get down and busy with some space.
Okay.
I don't know what that means, but
no, I don't know what it means. Jamie,
I'm just going to put it out there.
Do you fancy going to the Science Museum on Saturday?
Can I say yes?
Yes, let's say yes. And if any of our Interplanetary podcast people are in London, why don't you join us at the Science Museum and check out Tim Peake's capsule and Harriet Brettle's lovely star sail?
I'll tell you what, that's an ace idea. Leave a comment, let us know if you're going to be there, and then hopefully we'll hook up. Come and meet us. Come and meet the team. We'll sign your iTunes account.
Oh, yeah.
Who wouldn't want that?
I don't know. I don't actually no idea who wouldn't want that.
Guys, it's been a pleasure once again, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.